Hi everyone, our group project is Take a Break, which is a 3D narrative game. The idea came from long hours working at a desk. Everything crowded in on me and stressed me, so I realized proper rest was necessary. So, the designers decided to make a 3D narrative game named Take a Break. In this first-person narrative game, play as a remote worker and first-hand experience how continuous work leads to stress accumulation and its impact on mental health. The game will subtly encourage players to explore the importance of maintaining balance and well-being amidst work pressure. Our team consisted of 2 students from MA Games Design, 2 students from MA 3D Computer Animation, and 1 student from MA Animation Online. In the early stages of the project, we discussed the type and theme of the project together through regular online and face-to-face meetings, and finally settled on a direction. Every day, we would update the current progress of our work on Padlet. Every Wednesday, we have a regular meeting to discuss the progress of the current work and problems encountered, and to organize the work for the following week. To make it easier for us to contact each other, we have also created a group chat which we use to quickly send feedback to the whole team. To increase efficiency, we also split into 2 teams, one for game design and one for game art. This allowed us to subdivide our work and have more in-depth discussions on more specialized issues. In the end, we formed a work division as shown above. From the aims of this project, we can see a core contrasting relationship and our attitudes to both sides of this relationship. So our game systems and levels are designed around this contrasting relationship. In the end, our game system diagram is shown in the figure. In terms of level design, I wanted to do some exploration of environmental narratives. So I researched many real-life examples of spatial narrative architecture, as well as environmental narratives from other video games. I was most inspired by architect Carlo Scarpa's Brian Tomb and Naughty Dog's Uncharted 4. In Dream Levels, I want to convey the message that the player's state is getting worse and worse through the changes in the structure of the level's space. After many iterations and playtests, we adjusted some of the flow in the levels and added portals as a running element through all the levels. Combined with the horror-style sound effects, we ended up with the following levels. I am the project's game designer and programmer. After completing the gameplay design, I created the main functions. This involved many details, such as the key input value function, automatically switching maps, and determining endings based on numerical values. When the player sits down, he can increase the value of the progress bar by pressing the letter keys. When the progress bar is completed, the game is over. The number of player inputs controls the progress bar value and stress value, which determines the level of the room the player is in. The collapse value adds 1 every time the player enters the illusion room. This value determines which dream level loads, and players' actions in the dream level influence the ending. Players will get the true ending if they fill the progress bar without entering the 3rd dream level. Making menus function is the last part of my job. When the game is finished, we package it and test it. After testing, we discover deficiencies and debug them continuously. Next is the game art part. In the initial stages, we sketch 3 phases of the room together before moving on to our set production. I'll describe each person's role and job below. In this project, I worked as a member of the game art. I completed the modeling and UI design. The type of the furniture style is based on the time of the story, 2000, China. I used C4D to make the 3D models. For some of the models, I modified and remade copyright-free 3D models through Cinema 4D and then used Photoshop or Procreate to print their textures. As for the UI part, I was inspired by the title Take a Break and used the pixel art to fit the vision style of this game. In addition to this, I also support some animation parts. According to the background of the game story era, the old style of 2000 Chinese furniture is drawn and the texture of rust is added. Here the main display is daylight lamp tubes, clocks, landline telephones, and shoe racks. Based on the game character's level design, I created an animation of getting up from my chair and going to the phone and pressing the speakerphone. In the process of production, I recorded a walking reference video according to the animation rules and referred to some walking styles, hoping to make the animation more natural. In this project, I was the level designer and modeler. I used MetaHuman Creator for character creation throughout the game art process and built a rough room preview at the beginning. Besides that, I was responsible for organizing the assets created by the other 2 art students, including models, textures, and animations, and importing them into UE for level building. I created the lighting and atmosphere for the whole environment, and I also created small parts of the objects to complete the scene. After that, I was in charge of rendering the animations, including the menu animation, ending animation, and so on. Finally, this project improved the cooperation between the members of the group, and at the end, we submitted a complete work. In terms of level design, we were able to make 3 different level experiences with relatively simple features, which gave us a deeper insight into the potential of game mechanic design. But there are still some shortcomings that need to be improved. 1. The scene loading time is too long, need to add transition animation. 2. Asset optimization is not good enough, some storage space is wasted. 3. Do a better job with the environmental narrative of the levels. For example, getting more deeply involved in the game art part of the production, bringing information such as the materials of the models into the narrative. We will continue to focus on these in future projects and do better.